how to treat women. The difference between being a gentleman and being a simp. This is what we're talking about today. Why? Oh, before we even start, plugging my community real quick. If you're serious about your development in dating and achieving your goals, if you're serious about getting that dream girl, woman of your life, or if you want to casually date amazing, insane girls and have really crazy experiences, you should definitely join the community. It's the Masculine Choice Blueprint. That is the system that takes you from zero to exactly where you want to be. We do one live call per week. You are guaranteed one-on-one time with me personally because the groups are fairly small. We have 24/7 support on Discord. So anytime you want feedback, support, accountability, you can just access that community, that server. And you also get my full bundle of courses completely for free with the community if you join, which is a download of everything in my brain from the last 15 years. So, why should you listen to me? First of all, number one, I have spent the last 15 years creating tons of attraction between myself and literally hundreds, if not probably thousands of girls. Not even hundreds is way too little. Definitely thousands of girls. And I did that after spending my early 20s and my teenage years being completely invisible to women. So I flipped that scenario for myself. And then I spent the next 15 years not only attracting women and creating insane experiences for myself, but also teaching hundreds of men how to do that for themselves, okay? So I have had multiple long-term relationships with dream girls, with amazing, amazing human beings. And I also have had infinite rock star experiences, both with my girlfriends and with girls I was casually dating as well. And by rock star experiences, I mean, stuff that's usually reserved for rock stars, okay? Now, and this is me teaching a bunch of dudes. So now, here's the contents of what we're gonna be talking about today. Number one, what are the differences between being a simp and being a gentleman, being a, chivalrous guy? Because chivalry is important. It's just a lot of dudes, especially right now in this year and this decade, they are misunderstanding it and they are doing it the wrong way, and you might be one of them. So, what are the differences? Number two, how to know which one you are. Are you a chivalrous guy? Are you a pimp? Or are you a simp? And number three, what to do about it once you have realized that you're not playing it the right way. Now, first of all, the differences between being a simp and being a gentleman. Being a gentleman is nice, and you should definitely do that for girls. It's the aspect of yourself that is masculine and that protects and that serves the girl. It's, pulling her chair once she sits at the table, treating her with respect, opening the door, the car door or the apartment door for her, and things that generally women can't do for themselves. I'm kidding. Women can obviously open their own doors, but if they have a man do it for them, it creates the atmosphere of I'm here for you, I'm serving you and I'm protecting you, okay? But that needs to come from high value. That is the big difference between the simp and the gentleman. So the similarity is that the simp will do the exact same thing, okay? He will buy a girl a drink. He will open a door for a girl. He will give the girl money, financial support. But it comes from the wrong place. It comes from a completely wrong angle. So what are the motivations? That is the big difference between simping and being a gentleman, okay? If you're simping, you're supplicating the girl. You are doing something to get something out of it. And this is the problem that nice guys have. If you think that you're a nice guy, this might be you. Okay, this very thing might apply to you. And it is because deep down in its core, the reason why you're doing what you're doing is to get something in return. It is not to serve, it is not to assist, it is not to protect. But it is, in its core, as much as you might not want to see it and admit it to yourself or to somebody else, it is a manipulation. That is the big difference. You're doing it to get something out of it. And the reason why you're doing it is because both the gentleman also, and you or the simp, they both want to get something out of it. However, the gentleman doesn't feel that he needs to exchange something on purpose to get something out of it. Let me explain that. If you're, as a simp, buying a girl a drink, you are not, and here's how we're gonna talk about premeditation versus spontaneity and timing. You're not doing it because you feel like you and your party should be drinking and you're leading that and arranging that. You're doing it so that in the back of your mind, maybe getting the girl more tipsy is going to help you in getting her into bed. Or maybe she will appreciate the gesture and because of that like you more. So again, then there's an element of manipulation. There's an element of you instigating something to get something in return. And this is what causes timing to be off. Okay, why am I saying that? Timing is a huge thing in flirting, and it betrays premeditation. This is why the exact same move or the exact same line delivered, a half a second later is gonna trigger an automatic negative response from the girl. Because by default, because we've lived for at least 25 years, 20 years, 30 years, we're already like accustomed, especially as a hot girl, like tuned in to like what the right timing feels like. It's not something that she can explain, but it's something that she definitely knows to recognize. So if you premeditate something, there is an element of time that is between your thought and the action, or is between the prompt and the action, and that is the time that your thought takes. And if you're spontaneous, okay, that is very attractive. That is what a gentleman does. A gentleman opens the door because he mechanically just goes for it without having thought something beforehand. And that results in the timing being immaculate and the girl recognizing the flow in that, if you will. The spontaneity and the genuine intention, okay. But if there's premeditation, the fraction of a second that your thought will take, it will feel off to somebody that's experienced with human interaction, to somebody that's experienced socially, someone that's socially savvy. And that's usually hot girls. It's very hard to be a hot girl and not be socially savvy, okay? So that's like a big difference right there, okay? So we've talked about motivations, we've talked about timing, and the last difference that's very prevalent is before versus after affection has been won. So that's a big part of being a gentleman, and a big part of being a masculine dude is your boundaries. And sometimes chivalry has to take a back seat to saying no and making sure that the woman respects your rules first. Okay, so the simp will feign gentlemanly action to gain affection. So that is by definition before affection has been won. But the gentleman, he will sometimes let the serving and the protecting, not the protecting necessarily, but definitely the serving, take a backseat to making sure that respect has been established first. Okay, so those are the big differences between being a simp and a gentleman. So the question is, how are you gonna know which one you are? Because if you're if you're being a simp and you're in the before you have made that shift and before you have understood how that change works, you're kind of like maybe not even admitting it to yourself, and you're kind of flying blind. So you need IFR, you need your instruments to tell you which one you are. And there's 3 really big tells right here that if you're unsure, if you're being a gentleman or if you are being a simp, through these tells, you're gonna be able to know. Number 1 is aggression. If you're truly being a gentleman and you are alpha and leading and guiding and you are respected by the girl, there's no way she will ever be aggressive at you, okay? Aggression only occurs if the girl cannot be in her feminine. But if you're truly a gentleman, if you're truly, if you're truly guiding the girl, if you're truly being the lead, okay, this is what allows the girl to be in her feminine, and aggression will never cross her mind. It's something that is impossible for her to access, that feeling. However, if you're not letting her be in her feminine because you're not being in your masculine, and you're doing that by trying to premeditate something, trying to instigate something, and that's being a simp, okay, that will frustrate the shit out of the girl, and frustration leads to aggression, so she will direct her aggression towards you. And you will know that by, like aggressive face, by raising her tone to you, and things like that. Okay, so that's a very easy tell right there. Number 2, are you having sex with her or are you not having sex with her? If you're not having sex with her and you're doing things for her, especially to get sex, that's you being supplicating, and that's you being a simp 100%. So if you're not having sex with her, brother, start thinking that this might be you. And number 3, you're gonna be feeling a faint feeling of pressure and discomfort. That's the big difference about being a gentleman. It's when you're really a gentleman, when you're really in a leader state, everything kind of feels organic. So you buy drinks, but like you're not buying them to do something again or to instigate something, but you're buying them because that's how you feel like. And you're not backwards rationalizing, this is how I feel like. It is truly how you feel like. That's the difference. And if you're being a simp, you're gonna feel a feeling like a faint in the back of your mind, a feeling of pressure and discomfort. Like you're not gonna feel comfortable in the environment. So those tells, this is how you know. Well, you're not gonna know. It's just how you can suspect that you're in the wrong side of history. So if you are, maybe it's time to start doing something else. So what is this thing that you need to start doing? What to do? This is going to cost you, okay? This is going to cost you part of your identity and part of your ego, because your ego is invested in living life how you're living it. However, it's also in conflict with your higher self, because the way that you live life doesn't yield the results that you want, and that's why you're unhappy, and that's why there's conflict inside of you. Okay, so in order to align all that shit and start doing the right thing, start behaving the right way, showing up the right way, and obviously because of that start getting the right results, number 1, you need to cut off that part of yourself. So all of the girls that you're supplicating to, you need to cut out of your life. There is theoretically some way that they might actually switch, say you switch from simp to pimp in an instant, okay? If you truly make that switch and become that purebred male where you know that you're doing the right thing and it's coming out of you in an organic way, I guarantee you the behaviors of these girls would instantly change and you would instantly gain respect. However, in reality, that is not possible. It's like that necessitates a big change of your identity in the way that you show up, again, like I said, and because of that, there's going to be a lot of friction. So changing our identity is really, really hard. So we need to cultivate an environment around us that facilitates that and that helps us do that. So if we can't do that, if we don't have that, the environment is not going to help you. So you really, truly need to cut these girls off. And in fact, sit in the vacuum for a second. Like let some time pass. And when I say for a second, I truly mean maybe even for a few weeks. Okay, let some time pass where you can feel the absence of girls, because now you might have some women in your life, but it's not in the way you want to have them. And what you want is a different type of relationship, a different type to relate to women. And if you deprive yourself of what you already have, which is good, maybe by feeling that vacuum, maybe your brain is gonna level up, is gonna step up and demand the great. That's why we say good is the enemy of great. Okay, so make that decision, snip that off, and say that from today on, I will be a different guy. I will be a true gentleman. And to become a true gentleman and not a simp, you absolutely need a big change. Okay, so create that vacuum first and make that commitment to say that, okay, from now on, I will only have relationships with girls the way I want them to be, the way I want to have them. So you want to be on your terms, and You want to practice saying no, and that's boundaries, okay? So sit down, take a piece of paper, and write what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. And buying girls drinks without getting sex is unacceptable. But also, buying girls drinks to get sex is also unacceptable. So you see, boundaries go both ways, okay? Boundaries go towards other people, like women. What do you expect of women? How do you expect to be treated? And what do you expect of you? How do you want to conduct yourself? Okay, boundaries is one of the biggest attraction switches. There is 6. I talk about them in my course as well, but I talk about them in my content as well. And boundaries is one of the most important masculine traits. Okay, the ability to be able to say no. The ability to be able. Anyway, you understand what I mean. The ability to say no. So once you do these 2 things, cut off all the previous types of relationships that you know deep down you're unsatisfied by, and start cultivating the ability to say no, you will see that the environment will start turning to start suiting you. You'll see that if you're starting to say no, some people will start saying yes to you. And that's, how you slowly make that shift from simp to true gentleman. So this is how you treat girls, this is how to treat women. And like I said again, if you're serious about your dating development and getting your goals, grab the link below because that takes you to my community and you can get all of what we talked about before. And with that said, I will see you in the next one and have fun in the meantime. Okay, see ya.